No problems.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and we are going to continue ahead here with our media availabilities here at DIS, and this is the third of three OEM availabilities, and this is we're joined here by our friends from Ford with an esteemed panel, our largest one yet, and with me today, Mark Rushbrook, Global Director, Ford Performance Motorsports, Roger Penske, Team Penske, Jack Roush, Roush Fenway Racing, Tony Stewart, Stewart-Haas Racing, and Eddie Wood, Wood Brothers Racing. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for spending a little time with us today. Mark, Ford Performance is heading into this weekend as reigning Daytona 500 champs and had a lot of success last year. Talk about some of the things you're looking forward to in 18.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, in 2017, to be up here with these guys, we had a great year with each of the teams winning last year across a lot of different tracks. So one of the things is the teamwork across these four different teams, where we're working together as one team in a lot of cases. For 2018, there's been driver lineup changes in a lot of these teams, I think all strengthening their positions and strengthening the overall Ford lineup. A lot of work for the teams, adjusting to some of the rule adjustments. And we're really looking forward, having worked hard all winter, to being back out here racing in the 500 on Sunday.
Mark, you referenced driver changes and new lineups, and we'll go down the line, open it up to everybody. How is your team poised for this year? Start with you, Roger.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes,
Well,
sir.
obviously, with Blaney coming over as part of our plan, working with the Woods brothers last year, and the success we've seen here so far, the last week or so has been amazing. But it's been really a team effort with Ford support. No question, the aero work we've been able to do together, and working in the full-scale tunnel and also our models. And I think I said to Jack here earlier, what they've given us from Roush Yates from an engine perspective is amazing. You see all of these cars are fast, and I think the drivers are going to be the ones who are going to make the difference in the race. But it's certainly been a good year for us, and we're looking forward to going forward after here.
Jack?
Yeah, we've built as many new cars and worked as hard in the shop as probably we ever have. The big challenge that I've taken on in the last 2 or 3 years is to try to follow Ford's lead and get my management organized to be able to be conversant in all the technologies that have come to bear. The involvement of the computer in the both the testing and the simulation and the data acquisition at the races is really brought a new dimension, and unless you've got your managers really keyed in on that, you really can't take advantage of the tools that are available. I know CFD is a big thing, and all the predictive work and the racetrack simulator that Ford makes available really puts a challenge on the management team to figure out how to be a traffic cop and send the right people doing the right things on the right days. We've worked the management side of it as hard as we have the cars this winter.
Tony?
Yeah, well, excited to have Eric on board this year. Obviously, I feel like we've had a winter where we didn't have to thrash, so that was kind of nice, except for a couple rules packages that NASCAR threw at us at the last minute, but that's normal. So, but, for the most part, I think, having the first year with Ford, it was a great experience for us, something that went as seamless as could possibly happen, to be welcomed into their family, and, hopefully they feel like they're a part of our family now. So, to be able to come down here and win the Daytona 500 last year was a great start for us, but, we're just looking forward to it. It's, really the biggest change was just bringing Eric on board this year, which it's nice to have that small of a change in our organization, considering what we've had to do the last 10 years. So, I know Eric's excited. I know all of our drivers are excited, and, exactly what Jack and Roger have mentioned. I mean, the technology and support that we're getting from Ford is second to none. So it makes that side of it a lot easier. I know the engine package is something that's a big box each week that we don't even worry about and think about, because the drivers are happy with their motors, and that lets us focus on other things that really make these cars go fast, and that's making them turn. So getting the handling the way we want it for these guys is a big part of it, and our group's done a really good job over the winter, I think, of trying to find and massage on the things that the drivers were wanting to change between last year and this year. So I feel like we're in good shape and ready to go race.
Eddie, your thoughts on 18?
Yeah, for 18, of course, we've got a new driver, Paul Menard. We've already had one test behind us, went to Vegas and tested, and that went really, really well. We've got quite a few new people, and most of them are from my team that's been with us for years, and we've got a new crew chief and Greg Irwin, and he and Paul have spent a lot of time this winter in the simulator over at the Tech Center with Ford, and that kind of gets into how much resources we have at our hands. That I'll go way back, and the resources like is available now from just say Ford Performance is just unbelievable, just in the last 2 or 3 years. When a guy can go in a Tech Center, bolt on put his driving suit, bolt on a helmet, and get in a car, and it be exactly like where he's going to race. I mean, you can't, that's something you would wish for that you wouldn't think anybody could invent. But anyway, Paul and Greg have spent a lot of time there. We had a really good race Thursday night. Got shuffled back early, and Paul worked his way back up to actually the second by himself, pretty much just one car at a time. And there at the end is going to go with Tony's 2 cars, and they kind of got shuffled around and it didn't work out, but we thought we had a shot to win the race. So we're looking forward to that. It's just been like the off season. It's just so much work been done by everyone working together. I think that's the one thing that I think Ford has an advantage is the Ford One concept. Now, there's things that you don't share, but they're so small, they're almost insignificant. And then you get back to the Roush Yates, the engines from Roush Yates. Like Tony said, you don't even worry about it. That's a constant. It doesn't matter where you're racing. If you're not running, you go work on something else because it's not going to be the engine. So anyway, we're really happy.
Roger, question for you. When you made the switch to Ford Performance, you talked about it being about human capital and commitment to technology innovation. How do you see that playing out across the sport?
Well, there's no question. We had finished up with Dodge. They decided to leave the sport, and we looked to see what would be the right partner to have. And I think the fact that, we watched what Ford had done, success they've had, and then we really talked about technology, and they talked about having a simulator. They talked about their wind tunnel programs and things like that, and all of the fluid dynamics and things that we work with, and it really connected us from a technology partner perspective, even though they were going to become, the race car that we drive would be a Ford. But, it was something that our whole organization looked at before we made that decision. But it certainly proved to be beneficial. We, in fact, shut our engine shop down, if you don't remember that. And that was a question Jack and I talked about, that maybe we thought we should keep ours or have an edge. But it was so apparent with the commitment. You go over to Roush Yates and you see the commitment there that they have, and it was deep and long, and the people that they brought in even to support it has been amazing. And we get continued support from Dearborn, and with the tech center they've built now, it just continues to get better. We couldn't replicate that ourselves.
Okay, with that, we'll open it up to questions from in here in the room. Please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll start here in front with Greg.
Sorry. Greg Engel, Auto Week. Actually, Mark, for you, obviously you're not going to spill the beans and tell us the scoop on what you're doing next year with the new car. But when the Camaro came out, obviously it makes the other manufacturers pay up and sit up and pay attention. What's the reaction when you hear that another manufacturer is bringing a car to Cup, and you're still in the process of bringing your car to fruition?
Yeah, the way the rules are set up with the body and the whole process that you go through, it's something that we're always working on, and it's deciding when is the right time to bring a new body to the track. Obviously, Toyota did it for 2017. Chevy has now done it for 2018. It worked for them, but we're always working on every part of the car. The body is one of the most important with the role that aerodynamics play. So we're watching to see how that Camaro races on track, and we'll make our decision about what we do in the future.
We'll go all the way to the left to Al Pierce.
Yeah, Al Pierce from Auto Week for you, Eddie. It's been an adventurous week already for you guys. Getting down here, illness, your dad not being here. Tell us a little bit about what you've gone through just to get to this point right now.
I don't know really what you're talking about, but
You're running out of gas.
oh,
Start with that.
I don't even want to hear all that mess and all. I had heart surgery in early December. Got through all that mess and doing really well. And my goal was to be down here. I told the doctor if he could fix me in 8 weeks, by first week in February, we'd do it. So he said, okay, we can do that. So we did. So everything's kind of, you know, I go to the shop. I didn't go to the shop a lot because, I get tired. But on the way down here, I've got one of those Focus STs, but that's really, really fast that these guys made. It's actually my wife's car. And I'm riding down the road by myself last Tuesday, and everybody's car's got 2 empty, so-and-so miles to empty. Well, I'm running along there, and I'm not used to driving that car, so it's like 50 miles, and next time I look, it was 30, 20, and it's a 6-speed. I had it in 4th. Didn't know it.
4 years is enough.
Well, now we know why you didn't have a driving career in this sport.
The comment that I've got, people knowing Eddie, knowing that there's been something a little different about Eddie, most people figured that he had a hole in his head. Turns out he had a hole in his heart.
Yeah, that's
He
right.
still got the one in his head.
Yeah, they fixed that one, but it didn't stop there. So I'm riding down 95, and it's dark, and I glance down, so I'm 7. Like, oh, man. So I'm starting looking for exits. Finally find one. By the time I get to the exit, it's about 4, and so it was actually a Shell station that was right off of 95. So I rolled down the ramp. I almost turned over with it out of gear, filled up with gas. I said, damn, I'll never do that again, because I've always been a believer, and I'm sure Jack and Roger will say the same thing, and Tony. You want to be full of gas unless you're on fire. So, I'm thinking, I'll never do that again. I got all the way, it did the same thing again. I got it in 4th gear. And I don't know how I keep doing that. I mean, I checked it, I thought. I mean, it's real close. And a car will absolutely fly. I'd probably run 140 miles an hour. But I'm riding down the road, and it's like 12. And then, oh, shit, I start looking, and I knock it out of gear, to coast down this hill, which is not much hill here. So it gets going again, and I pulled it back and forth again and didn't know it. So all of a sudden, it's at 1 mile, and I'm like, I see a green sign's 1 mile and it was this exit right out here to the land, 92. So again, knocked it out of gear, rolled down the hill, turned in a service station. I must have turned in 80 miles an hour on 2 wheels. and this is no joke. I mean, it's stupid that you can tell, but I don't really get excited about stuff. Like, it just winds me up. But I was up on the steering wheel, like this right here. I was almost like through the windshield. This just fixed heart was going bam, 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 bam. It took me to about midnight that night to calm down. I never had anything like that happen to me, ever. So anyway, that's how stupid I am. But
So the moral of the story is do not go on a road trip with Eddie Wood. Anywhere.
If you got a secret, you want to keep it from Al, because Al will ask a question,
I know.
push your button.
he always does.
We'll continue in the.
Right, my dad's not coming down. This will be the first race he's ever missed since 1947. He watched him over on the beach. But he's in really good health. My mom is good now. But with the flu and everything that's going on everywhere, we just didn't think the risk was there. And he made up his own. We didn't ask him anything. We just like, if he wants to go, he'll say so. And then he just made the decision himself. He just didn't want to risk getting sick. So. And then I come down here after the running out of gas, I get bronchitis. Jeez. I've had a big week. But
And
we
we
did have a good race the other night. I'm really happy about that. And like I said, I'm going to let somebody else talk.
We kind of thought Tony was going to steal the show. We'll continue over here with Joseph Walken in the middle towards the left.
Joseph Walken, frontstretch.com. Tony, Cole Custer ended the 2017 season on a really high note, dominating a Homestead. What's the plan for him moving forward to the Cup Series at some point?
Well, obviously, we're looking forward to having him in the Xfinity car this year again, and we'll keep watching him. But I mean, he keeps impressing us. I mean, he keeps running better and better in his performance at Homestead. I mean, that was an awesome, dominating performance. It makes me wish we could have got those. Obviously, we wanted to get him in the Final Four there for Homestead, but I mean, to miss it by 3 or 4 points like we did, makes you wish what could have happened if we got him in there and have that kind of run. So just those 2 or 3 spots could have been the difference between him making it to Homestead and being the champion. So, we're proud of him. I'm excited about it. I think both him and Jabbo are real excited to work together again this year, and we'll keep watching him, but we're excited about him.
We'll stay in the same row with Lewis, and then we'll move over to Godwin.
Louis Frank of Reuters. Can't let Tony, be alone too much. So, how difficult has it been changing the motors? And I believe you're doing your own chassis again. How much more work is involved? Does Zippy go home at all?
No, we don't let Zippy go home. We were attached at the hip for 10 years, and he used to boss me around for 10 whole years. So now I figure I get 10 years where I get to boss him around, and he's on I think year 5 of that now. So we don't let him go home. But that's one of the things that I'm extremely proud about our organization is you look at what has happened with that organization over the last 10 years to go from a 2-car team that was leasing engines and buying their chassis from Hendrick to now a 4-car team, building our own chassis, switching manufacturers. I'm excited about our group. I feel like we've got an extremely strong group of people that never get to go to the racetrack, but they do an awesome job at the race shop. And, it takes somebody like Rick Zipadelli to organize and choreograph everything. So I'm proud of him.
Godwin?
We let him go home once in a while, just to change clothes. That's it. So.
We'll go with Godwin up front.
Godwin Kelly, News Journal. Tony, you get a pass on this one.
Thank you.
For the other 3 gentlemen, I wonder, I'm reaching retirement age, so this is sort of a self-exploratory question. None of you guys...
Glad you let me out of the hook on that one, bud.
So all you guys are past retirement age. What keeps you going? And I need an answer from each of the other owners here.
You start, Jack.
I said when I started, I was 46 years old when I started in the Cup Series in 1988. And at that time, I said that I wanted to go out the back door, doing this thing, that when I got to where I couldn't keep up, that I just shoved me over in the ditch and keep on going. And I'm getting close.
Yeah, I think that, racing has really been the common thread through our businesses. And as we grow our brand here in the U.S., racing is certainly a key part of that. So, I always say it's my fishing trip and golf game on the weekends to go to the races. So, I'm planning to be here as long as I can, and we're going to continue to try to support the sport and the teams and the people. And, I get the biggest probably satisfaction out of seeing the young people that grow up in the organization, people that maybe come to go to work for you. They start polishing wheels of the truck, and the next minute they're a crew chief or even could be a driver. And I think that's the great thing about the sport when you look at the garage and you see how many people started here with very little and what they've been able to really to bring to the sport. And obviously, it's been the cornerstone of my business for 50 years.
Additional questions?
Aaron Bearden, Kicking the Tires. Ford overall, you guys have won a lot of big races, but you've only got one driver's champion in the last, I think, 13 years, and it goes back to, I believe, 2002 for manufacturers. So how much pressure do you guys feel to kind of get back on top of the sport?
A lot of pressure. No, we're here to win races, to win championships. So that is definitely the focus that we have, and everything that our team inside of Ford Performance is bringing to our race teams is we want to have one of the drivers, one of these teams with a championship. So we've got all of our resources applied to it. We think we've got some good partners, some great teams, crew chiefs, drivers, and definitely looking to get back to Homestead for a championship at the end of the season.
We'll keep rolling in the middle with Jenna.
Roger, your three guys have been able to race 1, 2, 3 in both of those situations. What will you tell them going forward into tomorrow? And is one of the things you'll tell them that one of them better win the race?
Well, that's a secret. No, that's all. Good answer, isn't it? I'm telling you the truth.
It's pretty obvious that he cut him loose with 1 lap to go the other night, so
That's right.
what you can expect, I think, from all of us.
It is.
Actually, Jack, you cut Ricky loose at the very beginning.
Low blow.
I don't understand
All
what.
right, it's okay. It'll be okay.
Tony will take care of her afterwards. Additional questions? All right. Well, I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for spending some time with us today, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.